dimensioning this wall right up here. Okay, so everyone, please go up to this wall here. Okay, along grid line A. Please zoom into that. And here we go. So our dimensioning is under Annotate. Okay, now you'll see that there are two commands here, align and linear. Okay, so those are used to dimension distances. Okay, now 99 times out of 100, if not 100 times out of 100, I'll only be using this command here. Okay, called align. Because a line can be used for both horizontal and vertical as well as diagonal lines. And it has far more capabilities than the linear. In actuality, I find linear to be very tedious, okay, time consuming, so I would rather you use this. Okay, so let's click on align, and I'll show you the main difference. Look, when I click on align, I have this options bar here that gives me a bunch of options to dimension. But when I go to linear, I've got no such options. Okay, so again, it's a very tedious, manually used, very sparingly used command. Okay, so again, let's go into align. All right, and the first thing we're going to do over here is choose what we want to pick. Okay, now in AutoCAD we use endpoints to pick the start and ends of our dimensioning. Okay, in Revit we can use wall faces or centers. Okay, so you can see wall center line, wall faces. Okay, I want to use wall faces to be good. Okay, so please pick wall faces, and we're going to pick individual faces. Okay, you'll notice that there is another option there called entire wall, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. Okay, so for now, let's go wall faces, individual references, and let's start. We're going to dimension the openings on this wall. Okay, so we're going to start by picking this face. You can see my extension line starts from there. Yeah. All right, you'll have to move to. I have no control over the hardware in this room. Hopefully that does something. You have it? Yeah. All right. Now that we've selected that face, we're now going to go to the inside face of the window. And again, you gotta watch because there's quite a few different faces that you could choose from here. Okay, so we must make sure that we're choosing the face of the wall. Okay, then we choose the next face. And then you can see that we could continue across. In AutoCAD, we did one linear and then we had to do a continue. Okay, here, we can simply keep continuing. All right, until we get, okay. The end line here, and then we can just go ahead now and place our dimensioning above our wall, and there we go. Right. Very simple. Okay. So this one is doing it by individual references, one face at a time. Okay. Press escape, select that, and I want you to delete it. I want to show you a different method, okay, which is a lot quicker. I want you to go to the Align tool. I want you to choose Wall Faces, but this time, I want you to choose Entire Wall. And when you choose Entire Wall, you'll notice that you have the Options button available. Click onto that. And I want to dimension the openings within that wall as well. Okay, and I want to dimension not from the center of these openings, but from the widths of these openings. So now let's click OK. So now when we dimension this wall, go ahead and dimension the wall or pick the wall. You'll now notice, okay, it'll automatically find all your openings for you. Okay, very quick procedure. Okay, press escape a few times. We'll go to Align now. Now this time, okay, this is what I normally do when I have to dimension an entire wall, okay, or just one wall. Okay, don't do this, just watch. I'd have to go here to here, and then I do the entire wall, right? Now I've got this entire wall option available. But this time, go to your options, and I don't want to dimension the exterior or the opening, so turn that off. And now I can go ahead and just select that wall without openings, okay? It'll dimension that entire wall, okay? I can go here, dimension that entire wall. Yeah, I could dimension here, that entire wall. Okay, I could dimension down here, the entire wall. And you can see how nicely I can line them all up. Now, this wall here on the side, okay, this wall here on the side, I'm going to do an entire wall, but I want all the openings. Okay, so again, align, entire wall, click on options, openings, widths of the openings, click OK, select the wall, and drop your dimension there. Now the second tier, I just want the overall length of that wall. So I can now go to open options and turn off openings. And now I can go ahead and select the entire wall and put my second tier of dimensioning here. Okay. So a very nice way of dimensioning exterior. Now, let's say I want to dimension the interior. Now, when dimensioning the interior, what I want to be able to do is locate these walls. Okay? I want to locate the walls. And for this particular one, I'm going to locate the center line of each of these walls. Okay? So I'm going to create a series of interior dimensions. Okay? A series of single string interior dimensions. So again, let's go to align. All right, let's select. Now, from here, I don't want to do entire wall. I want to do individual references. Make sure that you are choosing individual. We're still going to go with start on our wall face. Okay, wall faces, but we want to do individual reference. We're going to start dimensioning from this face right here. So the interior of this exterior wall. Okay, start from there. But then now, when I go to this wall, I don't want to reference the faces of the wall. I want to reference, my apologies, but I really don't have any control over that. Okay. So now I want to reference the center of this wall. Okay, so let's now go into our control panel here and choose wall center line. Is it only happening on this side? Are you guys having flickering with your screens?
No.
All right. All right. Everybody on this side. 2 minutes. Go. All right. So again, we're going to create a single string of dimensioning throughout this interior. Okay, that's how you should dimension interiors. You shouldn't be dimensioning every single segment of a wall. We should just be running single string dimensioning throughout. All right, so let's go to aligned again. And again, we're going to start with wall faces individual reference. Okay? We're going to start right here. All right, but then when I get to this wall, I don't want to reference the faces of this wall. I want to reference the center of that wall. So now we switch over to wall center line. And now I can pick the center line of that wall. Again, I will pick the center line of this wall. And then lastly, we're going to revert back to wall faces. And I'm going to choose the face of this wall. All right, so there's my single string. I can plop it down. There you go. Now, I'm going to go this way now. Okay? So, again, we're going to press escape here. We're going to use our align tool. Now, for this one here, we're going to start at this wall. But here's the issue. We need to pick this intersection right here. Okay, let me show you how to pick this properly. Okay, don't just go in your mouse and try to pick it. because you may be picking other layers that are involved, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to place your mouse on top of it. Again, don't pick it, just place your mouse on top of that intersection. Now, look at the bottom left-hand corner of Revit. It tells you their walls, basic wall, interior. Okay, this is your status bar. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to press the tab key until it says intersection of walls. So keep pressing, there you go, intersection of wall, right there. Once you press that tab key, look, you'll notice that you'll get a gray dot will appear in that intersection. All right, pick that. There we go. Okay, so we know without a shadow of a doubt that we've chosen that endpoint or that intersection. Now, we do the same thing to this intersection here. Okay, and you can see that when I go in here, it tries to pick other things. Okay, so again, put your mouse on top, press your tab key until it says intersection. There it is, intersection of those two walls. So now I pick that, and then now I can continue. I'll pick the edge of this wall, and then lastly, the edge of this wall. Okay, and I put my line down. Okay. All right, now, how do you dimension, okay, oh, we're missing, oh, it's okay. How do you dimension an angular wall, okay? Now, normally when we dimension a wall like this, a diagonal wall, we normally dimension the X and Y, okay? We don't normally dimension the angle, but I do want to show you how to do that, okay? So let's go to the Align tool, and again, we need to pick these 2 points. So to pick these 2 points, you need to put your mouse over this point first, press tab until it says intersection. Right there. Now it says intersection, pick it. Then go to this point, press tab until it says intersection. Okay, and you can see how many times I had to pick it. I probably had to tab it about 5 or 6 times on that last one. Okay, but there you go, there's my dimension. Okay. So don't forget, when you're trying to pick a free point like that, okay, and and normally it happens obviously when you have a diagonal wall, okay, where you have a free point, you must make sure you press tab until it says intersection in order to pick that value. All right, now, if you are to dimension a wall like this, we must make sure that we also show an angle here. Okay, yes?
Can you show that angle dimension again with the next one? Picking up the intersection.
Okay, so again, align, you put your mouse on top, and you have to press your tab key until it says intersection at the bottom left-hand corner of your drawing. Pick there. Then put it on here. Again, press your tab key, and you may have to press it 5 or 6 times. There it is. Okay. So it's not just 1 or 2 times you may have to pick it. You may have to pick it 5 or 6 times, or tab it 5 or 6 times to get it. All right. Again, now I'm going to have to put the angle on this wall. Okay, so let's go now to the angular command. It's like AutoCAD, you just pick the 2 lines that encompass that angle. Okay, there's my angle there. Now you could also, okay, you'll notice that when we do angular, right, there's actually 4 different angles you could choose from. The inside one, the outside one, the acute angles on the sides. Okay. Now, what if you wanted to define the angle in relation to the horizontal? Okay, so I want to show this as a 45-degree angle. So I need to draw a line here. I'm going to draw a line. So under your Annotate tab, in the Details panel, you'll see a command there called Detail Line. So this Detail Line command, think of it as your 2-dimensional drawing tools. Okay, so if you go here, you can see there's all my draw features. Okay, so these are 2-dimensional lines or rectangles or circles or so on. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line. I'll start it here at this endpoint, and I'll make sure it's horizontal. There's my line. Press escape. Okay, now I'm going to go to my angular tool, I'm going to dimension this angle here. Okay. And we'll be using that detail line option later on today when we start adding some detail to our details. Okay, sometimes again we want to draw things within our details that perhaps aren't shown in the details originally. Okay. Any questions on adding dimensions to your building? Yeah.
For some reason, the long line you did in the center, it didn't continue for me after the first one.
This one?
Yes, how do you
It just keeps continuing. Okay. Just try again. Go to a line. Okay. Start here. Okay. Make sure you have wall faces, individual reference. Start here. Then tab it until it says intersection right there. But don't put your dimension down. No, you still continue from there. Okay, the last step is putting your dimension down. Okay, so it's a little different than AutoCAD. It's got a built-in continue. All right. Now, here's another way of dimensioning a wall. A very simple way to dimension. Watch. I want you to, let's select this wall right here. Now, make sure that when we're selecting this wall right here, don't select the stairs, okay, or don't select the opening, the shaft opening, okay? Please select the wall itself. All right. Now, when I select the wall itself, you can see that I have some temporary dimensions up here, okay? In order to make a temporary dimension into a permanent dimension, here's what I do. Let's say I want to make this a permanent dimension. There is a little symbol under it that says make temporary permanent. So go ahead and pick that. Okay, there you go. Okay, so it's making a temporary dimension into a permanent one. Pick that wall again. Okay, here's a temporary dimension here, but you can see it's referencing there. Let's say I wanted to reference all the way down here. So you remember how you control your temporary dimension? Just drag it to this, and then now I can make it permanent. Okay. And I could also drag this if I wanted to align. Okay, you can see I can align it to the previous dimension. There we go. Okay. So that again is another way of dimensioning. Select it, and then make it permanent, and then move, and then you can again move it around. All right, dimension styles. Okay, how do you control dimension styles? Now, when I control my dimension style, the very first thing that we need to make sure we do, okay, is we need to make sure that our scale, our annotation scale, is correct. Because obviously your annotation scale is going to control the size of your dimensioning and all annotative objects, okay? So it's a shame to not set your annotation scale first, okay, and then put in all your dimensioning, and then later on you realize, oh, my annotation scale was wrong, and when I put my dimensions down, they're actually up here on top of each other or hitting other things, right, because they're too big, okay? So look, if you change your annotation scale, so right now it's set at 1/4 inch, okay? If you set it at 1/8, okay, you see how much bigger my text is and all my other annotative objects, right? And when you're putting them down originally, you really didn't care about that because your annotation scale was at 1/4 and everything was small and it was doable, right? But now, once you've gone ahead and dimensioned it, you're now going to see, oh, I should have put that dimension over more. Oh, I should have put that dimension over here. I should have changed that, and so on and so on. So it's always a good idea to set your annotation scale first. Okay, now, the big question is, how do I know what my annotation scale should be? Okay. How do I know? Any ideas? How do I know what my annotation scale should be? Put it on a printable sheet, right? we should put this drawing on a printable sheet first so that we can determine what our viewport scale, remember, in Revit, our annotation scale is our viewport scale, okay? So prior to doing any dimensioning or adding text of any sort, we should put this drawing on a page so we know what our annotation scale is. So therefore, we will know what the result of our scale would be based on our text, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Let's start a sheet first, okay? Now, this sheet that we're going to create, okay, it's a review from last week, okay? I'm going to modify the sheet because I do want to create an 18 by 24 sheet size for your assignment that I'm handing out today. So we might as well kill two birds with one stone. We're going to create a printable sheet here, okay? So, please go under your View tab. Please go into your Sheet command. So under Sheet Composition, please click on Sheet. All right, let's load one in. Please go to your US Imperial folder. Scroll all the way down to Title Blocks. All right, now I want to create an 18 by 24, okay, an arc C size. Now you'll notice there is a C size here, but it's 17 by 22. Okay, so I've got to make that a little bit larger. I want to make it an 18 by 24. Okay, so we're going to open that up and we're going to revise it. Okay, so go ahead, load that in. Okay, there it is, C1722. Let's go ahead and select it, click OK. All right, there's our sheet right there. Okay, let's revise it now. So go ahead, select it, and go to Edit Family. First things I'm going to do to this, I'm going to obviously get rid of the Autodesk logo and website. Okay, we'll get rid of that line as well. Get rid of these consultant names and addresses. We will keep the revision block and everything else down here. Now, we will make this 1 inch taller and 2 inches wider, because again, this is a 22, you can see that's 22 inches by 17 inches, okay? I want to make it an 18 by 24, okay? So, here we go. Go to your Modify tab. In your Modify panel, please use the Offset tool. Alright, we're going to offset it first 1 inch upwards, okay? So please put 1 inch. And turn off your copy option. Okay, I don't want to copy, I just want to move the object 1 inch. Okay, so the vertical length right now is 17. I want to make it 18. That's why I'm offsetting it 1 inch. So offset the top by 1 inch, and offset the border also by 1 inch. And then the side, I want to offset 2 inches to make it a 24. So now change our offset distance to 2 inches. And let's go ahead and offset it outwards, or to the left. I always like to offset to the left and upwards rather than going this way, so that I don't have to move my title block. Press Escape now. And I'm just going to move this square right here. Okay, I'm just going to use my arrow keys. I'm just going to nudge it upwards, okay, to fill in that space. And the last thing I want to do is insert the Sheridan College logo. Okay, so from last week's class, okay, we looked at Insert, Image. Okay, go onto your wherever you saved your files from last week. Okay, so right here, Sheridan, new logo. Okay, and I'll just place it up here. Okay. So again, this is not only the paper size that I want to use for this lecture, but this will also be the title block and paper size I want you to use for your assignment too. So let's take a moment and save this, please. So go to File,
Image,
Save As, Family, Alright, now let's put it on, don't put it in the title blocks folder. Okay, put it on your folder. Okay, put it in your week 4 folder. Okay, and let's call this, okay, this should be called Arc C.
No.
18 by 24. Arc C 18 by 24 horizontal. Okay. Go ahead and save that. So again, that is the one I want you to use for your assignment later today. Okay. So now let's go ahead and load it into our project and close it. Okay, so right up here now, once you finish saving it, load it into your project and close. Okay, you're now back into our project. Okay, go to your sheet now. Okay, you see it says sheet A3, we'll revise that. Okay, but go ahead into your sheet, you'll see it's still the old one. So go ahead now, revise it, select, and choose the Arc C 18 by 24 horizontal. Alright, this page, let's change it to A1. Capital letters. Alright, this page will have our ground floor plan. Alright, and please change my name to your name. First initial, last name, please. So now that our title block is ready, okay, we can now implement our ground floor onto here so that we can, and again, the reason why we're doing this is just to find out what my annotation or my viewport scale is going to be so that when I put in my dimensions, I know they're the right size or not, okay? So currently, if I go to my ground floor, okay, we originally set it to what? What was it? I think it was 1/4 inch originally. That's what we were working on, okay? So go back to your ground floor, set it to 1/4 inch. Okay, now go back to your A1 ground floor plan sheet, and let's go ahead and drag and drop that. Okay, so ground floor, drag and drop it. Okay, you can see that it's probably way too big. There you go. Okay, so there you go. I mean, 1/4 inch is too big for this sheet. All right, so let's go back. We could do it 2 ways. Let's go back to my ground floor. Let's go back. Now we got to choose a different scale. Okay, so we got to go probably 1 or 2 scales less. Okay, so let's try 3/16. Okay, let's try 3/16. Okay, so now when we go to 3/16, go back to your A1 page. Okay, that's a good scale. Okay. We'll drag it, center it. Okay. Change your length of your drawing label. Move the drawing label around if you wish. Okay, but that is a decent scale. Okay, that's a good scale. Okay, but now that and again, we should have done this before we dimensioned. Okay, so that we could then look to see if my sizing for my dimensioning was proper. Alright, so now let's go ahead back into our ground floor and let's take a look at some of these dimensions here that perhaps may have exceeded the area that I wish. Okay, you can see some of them, okay, are pretty small, okay, and they're overlapping my extension lines. Alright, so 2 things I can do here. I can change the size of my dimensioning, okay, or I can move them around. Now, in terms of changing the size of your dimensioning, okay, can everyone please select one of our dimensions? Okay, you can see that's the one we're using right there. Okay, that's the style we're using. So if I go to edit, okay, there's the size of my text right there. Okay, 3/32. Okay, pretty small. Okay, 1/332. I would probably say that's the smallest text that you can put in a drawing. I'd actually prefer it to be 1/8. I normally use 1/8, okay, which is actually even larger than this. Okay, this is just 1/32 smaller than 1/8, so it's not a big deal, okay. But I probably would rather use 1/8 as my smallest. But it's okay. We'll leave it at that. Okay. So I can't change my text size any smaller than that. Okay. So I'll cancel out of there. That's one way of making it fit. Okay. So again, I said I can't make my text size smaller than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that dimension out. Okay. So select that dimension. You'll see a little grip feature appear on that. And then I can pull my dimension out, okay, and you can see it comes with a leader line, okay, so I can pull that dimension out like that, okay, as to not merge into my extension lines. Again, same thing here, okay, I can pull that dimension out, something like that, right? Okay, so that's how you can move your dimension, even along a dimension line. Okay, I can move my dimension along a dimension line, okay, like that. If I needed to move it over a bit, okay, I can move it. All right, so please make sure that when you are, prior to doing any dimensioning or adding text of any sort, adding any annotations of any sort, we must make sure that we set up a printable sheet, put your drawing on a printable sheet first, before you do any dimensioning, okay, so that, again, you can control, or you can see how your dimensioning is going to look and behave, okay, before you actually complete it. Any question on revising or adding a title block and then dropping your drawing in? Oh, one other thing. This is a working drawing, okay? So let's all go to our ground floor. Please make sure that you set your detail level to fine. Okay, we want to make sure that you see all the inner workings of this, and set your visual style to hidden line. So that's the setup on any working drawing. Okay, detail level set to fine. All right, next, let's create a cross section here. And again, a little bit of a review here. We all know how to create a cross section. I do also want to show you how to create what is called an offset section. Okay, being able to place your section line in various locations throughout your building. All right, so let's go to our View tab. Let's click onto our section command. Okay, I'm going to start my section, let's say right through here. I'm going to put it through the stairs here. Okay, so run a full section right through. All right, but now I want to split this section. So you're going to see here that we have a split segment option here. Okay, click onto that, and now I could split this section wherever I wish. Maybe I'll put it right at the mid of this landing here, so somewhere right about here. And you can now see I can move the left half, or I can move the right half. Okay, I'm going to move the right half down. Maybe I want to run it through this area here. Okay, then I can split it again. Maybe I want to run it through that window there. Okay, so there you go. Press escape when you're done. Okay, there's your, it's called an offset section. Okay, if I go into, one thing I forgot to do, when I went into that section command, you'll see here that the category was wall section. It should have been building section. Okay, so no problem. I could change that. Just select your section line, and can you put it under the category building section, not wall section. Okay, there's no difference in the drawing. There's absolutely no difference in the resulting drawing. The only difference is how it categorizes it in your project browser. Okay, because now you can see that that section is under the building section category, not the wall section category. All right, so if I double click, okay, there's my building section right there. I'll turn off my prop region. I'll add some detail levels to that, so let's make sure it's on fine. Alright. Now, here's what I want to do next. I want to zoom up. Okay, I want to zoom up. Where's my floor slab here? Bear with me for a second. I just want to see, do I actually have a floor slab on this? No, I don't. Alright, never mind. I'm just curious on why I didn't see a floor slab. You know what? Let's create a floor slab. So everyone, just go to your ground floor level. Okay, let's just really quickly create a floor slab here. Okay, so I want you to go to architecture, floor. Okay, let's just use my floor here. Okay, and let's use our pick walls method and just pick around. Okay, start up here. Okay, pick all the way around the circumference. And don't worry about putting it in the stairwell. We'll put it in the stairwell too. You'll notice there will be a gap here because I don't have a wall there. Okay, so I'll have to fill that in with my line tool in a minute. Okay, so once I've gone around, use your line tool and then just fill in that area there. So there you go. Just double check that all the corners are met nicely. Yep. Okay, so now go ahead and finish that. So now I should be able to see under section 1. There you go. Good. I've got a floor slab. Right. So here, okay, I want to zoom up to this wall. Okay, I want to zoom up to this wall to create another detailed drawing. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do. To zoom up to any portion of a wall of a drawing, regardless if it's a floor plan, a section, an elevation, or a detail, all we simply have to do is go to your view tab, and it's called a call out. Okay, so again, a call out is a zoomed up area. Okay, so all I want you to do is let's go ahead. It's like creating a rectangle. Now, before we do this, I want this to be under the wall section category. Okay, so make sure yours says wall section here. Okay, so all we do is put a call out. Okay, pick 2 points. You'll notice the corners are rounded. Okay, there you go. Okay, press escape a few times. Now I want to move my label here. You'll see it's hitting my second floor. So select it and then use that grips feature on the label to just slightly move it up or down. So once I've created that call out, you'll notice now, look right down here under our building section, okay, under our wall section category, there is now section 1, call out 1, okay? Let's rename that, okay? So just rename it, capital letters, okay, let's call this one wall section. And while we're there, section 1, under building section, let's just call that one building section. Please remember, when we start putting these drawings on printable sheets, it's important what you call your views in your project browser, because that's eventually going to be what's going to be in your drawing labels. So now that we've done this wall section, okay, first of all, our building section is set at 3/16 of an inch, okay? Our wall section, if you double click onto that, our wall section you'll see is twice that. So every time you create a call out of a drawing, okay, it will always be twice the original scale, okay? It'll always double the scale, okay? So there you go. I'll turn off my prop region. Okay, so there is my wall section. Okay, now let's put this on printable sheets. Okay, so let's create a new sheet here. Okay, let's go down to let's go up to our view tab. Let's create sheet. Okay, again, we're going to use the ARC C 18 by 24 horizontal. Click OK. There's our sheet. Okay, this will be for our sections and details. Alright, so let's go back to our wall section. Or sorry, let's stay here. Let's go ahead and drag and drop our building section. Take your building section, drag it and drop it. That looks a good size. Alright. And then let's put our wall section. Remember, our wall section should be twice the size of our building section. Okay, so drag that. Put it over here in this corner. Not too much space, okay, so no problem. I'm gonna double click first of all, okay? I'm gonna double click into this view, and I'm just going to put my my level lines, okay, over a bit. I'm just gonna drag my level line so I can bring, okay, then double click outside of it, and then I'm gonna bring this drawing over a bit, just to give it a little bit more room. There we go. I can do the same thing in this drawing. Double click. Okay, I'll bring my level line, one of my level lines in a bit. Okay, just to give it a little bit more space here. Double click out, and then I can move that over a bit. So always remember, when you do a call out, it will be twice. Now you could always change that. Okay? You could always change that if I decide, you know what, I want this even bigger. I can double click into there and then change my scale right here. Okay, I could change it to, let's say I want it to be 1/2 inch. Okay, and you can see it's probably, it might be too big for this page. Okay, but again, I could reset it if I wish to do so. So there you go. Okay, now here's a really nice feature. Okay, we're on sheet A2. That call out is drawing 2. And if you take a look at the label on your building section, it says where to find that. It's on A2 too. If I put that on a different page, obviously it's going to be A4 drawing number 5 or whatever. Okay, it's a really nice feature. It will automatically update where that drawing is in relation to your drawing package. Okay, now go to your wall section. Now I want to zoom in to this area. I want to zoom in here. And lastly, I want to zoom in here. I want to create some details of my my foundation connection, my floor and wall connection, and my roof connection. Okay, so no problem. Call outs. Create your call out. I'll put one up here. I'll put another one over here. And then I'll put one more, okay, down here. Again, I'll select them so that I can maneuver my label away from other text. You know what I forgot to do? Here's what I forgot. No problem. Okay, I always forget to do this. This should be under the, I want it to be categorized, not under my wall section heading. I want it to be categorized under my detail heading. Okay, so no problem. Hold down your control key, select all 3 callouts. Okay, and just change the category here to details. Okay, again, it doesn't change anything about the drawing. It just changes, you can see it right here now. Okay, it just changes the category in which it lies in my project browser. Okay. Now I'm going to rename these. Okay, so the first call out. Okay, this is going to be your roof / wall connection. Okay. Second call out is going to be your floor wall connection. Alright, and then the last one, okay, will be your, we don't have a foundation wall yet, we will eventually, but let's call this one foundation wall connection. So if I double click onto any of those, you can see now I'm kind of zoomed up. Right? And again, look here, twice your wall section. Okay, this is again, by default, it changes to twice the scale of your wall section. Okay, so all I really want to do in each of these, I just want to turn off my crop region. Okay. And then I'm going to drag and drop these onto my A2 page. I'll start with my roof wall connection. I'll put that right here. So you can see we don't have a lot of room here, so we gotta really, I may have to go in there and then move my grid line down a bit. Okay, maybe I'm gonna move my level lines in a bit so it doesn't take up too much space, because I've got 3 details here that I want to put on this page. Alright, so there, then I'm going to put my floor wall connection in here. And then lastly, my foundation wall connection. And again, I'm just trying to find some area here to put it in.
弄好了吗？有啥问题？
Now, one thing about drawing labels,
拖进去。
okay, in drawings, you want to the best of your ability, I'm not saying all the time, but try to line them up with other ones. Okay, you can see this one here, I lined it up with this one. Okay, this one here, I'll bring that down a bit, line it up there. Okay, now this one, I probably won't line that up, okay, just because it's too far. Okay, so I'll probably leave that one the way it is. Okay. There you go. Okay, and again, look at the labels automatically, right? This one here, okay, saying that the drawing, this call out is on page A2, drawing number 3. And that's right, there it is, drawing number 3. Okay. So regardless of whatever page I put it on, okay, this will automatically, okay, change as I place it on a printable sheet. Any questions so far? How long would it take you to do this in AutoCAD? I'd still be doing the title block. Alright. So let's go ahead now, file, okay. Save as, or just do a quick save. I'm gonna do a save as because I want to change the name, but you guys just do a quick save. Alright, 10-minute break. Take out your phones because the world is missing you. Go all into our wall floor connection. Okay, right here. I want to add some detail to that. So if you take a look at my notes here, okay, I want to add things like perhaps the top plate of my wall. So you can see here I've got a double bottom plate here, a top plate here. These are simply 2x6 wood studs. Okay, maybe I want to add my anchor bolt. You can see it right here. Okay, insulation, big one here. Okay, so we'll add that. Okay, so these again are details that we're adding. Now, these details that we're adding to our detailed drawing are only 2-dimensional details. Okay, they're not 3-dimensional anchor bolts or 3-dimensional bottom plates. Okay, they're simply, it's just like drawing lines or shapes. Okay, they're simply 2 dimensions. And also, they only exist within the detail that you are drawing them in. Okay, they don't exist in other details. Okay, so here we go. So again, we're gonna add some details. The first actual thing I wanna do is not really add a detail. I really want to see this wall, this bottom wall right here. It's extending or merging into my floor slab. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to trim up the steel stud, which is right here, and also the gypsum wall board, which is running through here. So those two things I need to cut. Okay, so here we go. Let's go under our View tab, and you'll see the command in your graphics panel. It's called Cut Profile. Okay, so please click onto Cut Profile. And the first profile that we're gonna cut, let's cut the stud. Okay, so put your mouse, you can see it right there. That's your steel stud. Okay, please pick on it. There we go. And now use your line tool and just draw a horizontal line on the bottom of the floor slab. All right, press escape. Okay, now click finish. Okay, so my steel stud has now been trimmed up. Okay, not a real difference you can tell in the drawing, but it removed a line over here. Okay, and now let's cut our gypsum wall board. So let's again go to cut profile. Click onto your gypsum wall board. Again, draw a straight line through the floor slab. Okay, and then finish. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so you can now see. And again, all the stuff we're doing here on this detail is only present in this view. Okay, it doesn't cut it throughout the entire length of the building. All right, next.
Sorry, can you show that cut again, please?
Cut profile, select it, and then draw your line across.
It like cuts off half of my wall.
Draw from the left to the right. I just tried that to work for me.
Oh, it's cutting the wrong side of your wall?
Oh, not to the right? Oh, not right to the left?
Sorry. Okay, I should show you that. Okay, because there's actually an arrow. Okay, there's actually an arrow when you cut it. Okay, so watch. I'm gonna undo my cut here.
Okay.
Okay, do you see that arrow right there?
Oh.
There's an arrow there. Sorry, my apologies. I didn't show you that. But if your arrow is pointing upwards like that, you're gonna keep this. If your arrow, which in our case should be pointing downwards, okay, then you'll keep that. Okay. So again, pick that arrow, making sure it's pointing downwards, okay, before you finish. That'll tell you which side you want to keep. All right, next, I want to put a bottom plate on this wall, and it's going to be comprised of a 2x6 wood stud. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do. Please go under the Annotate tab in your Detail panel. Now, here are two ways I can do it. Don't do it this way. This is the long way, obviously. I can go to Detail. I can go Rectangle. I can draw a rectangle there. Okay, 2x6. Something like 2x6. Something like that. Okay, then draw my lines across it. Like that, right? There's my stud, right? That's one way. Okay, that's the long way. Okay? Let me show you some components that they have that we can load in that already has that stud pre-drawn, okay? So please go under, again, your Detail panel. So in your Annotate tab, in your Detail panel, right here, Component, Detail Component. So it says no details have been loaded, that's okay. Say yes to load it in. All right, so here we go. This is where you find it. Okay, so go take a step back, go to your US Imperial folder, and it's under Detailed Items. Detail Items. Now, all these detail items are strictly two-dimensional drawings. Okay, think of them as 2D blocks. Okay, I want you to go under Wood and Plastic. I want you to go in Wood Framing. And I want you to go to Rough Cut Lumber section, and you can see what that looks like. Okay, go into there, and and choose the 2x6 stud. Okay, so scroll down, look for right here, 2x6 rough. That's what R stands for, rough cut number. There's my 2x6. All right, go ahead and load that in. And there it is. Okay, so now, obviously, press your space bar to flip it and place it right there, right on the top of my floor slab. Pick there. I'll put one down here, so space bar it, okay, so you can flip it, okay, and put it at the bottom of your floor slab, right there. Okay, oh, I'm gonna put a double one at the top, okay, so flip it, put one on the top of this one, again, align it flush, and pick, okay, press escape. Alright, yeah.
Mine doesn't have 2x6 option.
Okay, then you picked the wrong one. It's the rough cut, not the nominal cut. Anchor bolt here. Now, before we put that anchor bolt, one thing I did notice, okay, look at this drawing compared to the one we have. Do you notice how I could see the metal decking in my drawing? Okay, but in your drawing, the metal decking is in the other direction. Okay, the metal decking is there. That's what this is. Okay, but it's not showing the metal decking because the metal decking is, the span is in the opposite direction. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Just a quick thing. Go to your ground or go to your second floor level. Okay, I want you to select the floor slab. So go near the stairs here. That's probably the easiest place. Go near the stairs and select the floor slab. Okay. And then click Edit Boundary. Ooh, I had the floor. I had a different floor plan when I revised it lately, but that's okay. And look at here. Look up here. You see these two lines right here on the top? We started our floor slab up here. I started the floor slab up here, and that's why I've got two lines there because my metal decking is going in this direction, horizontal. In order to see that in my wall section, I need the span to go vertical. Okay, so here's all you do. Go to your span direction and choose this side line. Now your double lines are going this way. Okay, so my span's going this way now. Okay, click finish. Okay, say no, don't attach. Alright, so now if I go into my wall detail here, my floor wall connection, you see I can see my metal decking now? It's now going in the perpendicular direction for my section. Alright, next, I want to put in an anchor bolt here. Okay, and you can see what that looks like in my drawing here. Okay, it's this anchor bolt here that's going to anchor the wall, okay, down to the floor slab. Okay, so let's go. Again, annotate, detail, component, detail component, load family. Okay, take a step back all the way to your detailed items folder. And it's under, I always forget where it's under. I think it's under metals. Okay, so let's go to metals. Yeah, there it is. Common works results for metals. Metal fastenings. And you can see right here, I've got various 2D views of metal fastenings. Okay, here's the one I want. Where was it? Right here. Anchor bolt hook side. Okay. Anchor bolt hook side. Let's go ahead and load that in. There it is. Okay, so there's various sizes here. Okay, so maybe I'll choose the 1 1/4. Yeah, that's a good size. Okay, so 1 1/4. I'll rest it on top of my studs. Now I do want to mirror that. Okay, so no problem. I'll select it. Go to my modify panel. There's my mirror command, and I'm going to just choose an axis here. Okay, so I'm going to use the mirror pick axis command, and then I'll just pick this center line. Where's this? There. there's a center line right there that runs through that bolt, okay? So there's a center line right there. Pick it. Okay, there we go. Press escape. I can delete that original one now. And I can further control the size of this. You can see right here, okay? You can see right in your properties panel, okay? If I don't want it to be too long, maybe I'll change it to 8 inches. Okay, there you go. I'll move it up a bit. Okay, so I can again further modify the size of this through here. Let's put some insulation. This is a fun one. I love this one. Insulation. And it's going to be 6 inches wide, same as my stud. Okay, so here we go. I'll start it at the top of this bolt and then go upwards. Okay, I'll start it at the midpoint of this stud and I'll go down. So under detail here. Anyone draw insulation in CAD before? You used a line or a polyline and then you curved it, right? But then you have to draw grid guidelines first so you know exactly where you pick your points. Oh, such a pain in the butt, right? Look at that. That's just too perfect. Well, one minor thing I do want to do. There's a line right here. Okay, this is your roof from the way back at the front of the building. So I'm just going to hide that. So select it, right click, hide in view, element. Okay, and it'll only hide in this, obviously in this drawing here. Any questions on adding details to details? Now, one other thing I do want you to look at is the scale here. Okay, I changed mine during the break. Can you change yours as well before we start putting notes on here? Okay, can you change it to 1 inch equals a foot? Okay, and then go to your second page and just kind of move that around. Okay, in case it's hitting something. So I just changed the scale here because I didn't think it was very visible on this small sheet. All right, last thing before we look at phasing, how to add notes to this. Okay, so very simple. Let's go back to our floor wall connection. And again, the reason why I got you to change your annotation scale is I'm putting notes in here now. I'm putting annotation in, so the size of my annotations are going to be different based on that scale. All right, let's put in some notes. So let's go under annotate. Let's click on text. And you can see here that in your properties panel, okay, there are different sizes of text, okay, right here. Okay, I'm going to choose 1/8 Arial. Now remember, if I do want a different size text that's not on that list, just like we do with all Revit's things, edit type, duplicate, and then revise your text size or your font size or your font style as well. Okay, so this is how you do it. Okay, so but I'm going to use that Arial 1/8. The next step is right here. Okay, look at your leaders. Okay, this one here is no leader. Okay, meaning if you just want to put text somewhere that's not pointing to something, that's what you do. Just use the no leader text. Okay, these ones here. Okay, a 1 segment leader, 2 segment leader, or a curved leader. I'm going to use this 2 segment leader. You'll see what it has. It has the leader, but then it also has a landing. Okay, that flat landing there, which I like. Okay, so let's use that. Let's also use leader middle justification. So right here. Okay, and let's use left justify. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here's where my leader. I'm pointing to this. This is the stucco finish. Okay, well it's actually the EIFS with stucco finish. So let's click on here. There's my arrow, put it here, and then create your landing. Okay, right. Alright, here's my text. I'm going to call this EIFS, exterior insulation with exterior insulated finish system, okay, with stucco. Alright, and then close it. Okay, now, you should see something should happen here. You'll notice that the text disappears. The reason why your text disappears is because it's outside my crop region. Remember our crop region, right? It's outside my crop region. So, turn on your crop region. So right down here. Okay, there's my crop region. Okay, press escape to exit this command here. Okay, select the crop region. Now, when you select a crop region for a detail, this doesn't happen for all crop regions, just for ones that are detailed. Okay, you'll notice there are two crop regions. There's the smaller square solid one. This one here controls your actual drawing crop. Okay, so this controls your drawing crop. But this one here on the outside, this controls your text crop. Okay, so now drag that out until you can see there, any part of your text comes outside that, it will not show. Okay? Okay, so pull it out far enough that you see your text. Okay, now you can go ahead and turn off that crop region. Okay, and there's your text there. Okay, let's do this. Let's put brick on metal stud here. Okay, so again, text. Okay, again, we'll use the same setup. Let's start to put it right here. Right there. Create your landing. Okay, so brick on metal stud. I should have, okay, I put a enter, a return here, just so that I make sure that I don't pass it and have to change that again. So I'll close that. There it is. Press escape. I will show you at a later time once we get, because you're probably wondering right now, well, Sancho, doesn't AutoCAD know what materials these are already? Why do I have to label, type it in if Revit knows what materials these are? Yeah, we'll learn that later. It's called a material tag. Watch. Material tag, and then I can just put it on top of an object. That's crazy, right? Crazy. See that? I can label this drawing in 2 seconds, right? But again, we'll look at that in more detail later. Okay.
Label by categories.
All right. Now, so if I go back to my A2 page, okay, so there you go. There's my floor wall connection with text on it. Okay. All right. Next, phasing. Okay. Let's go ahead. We can save this file. We will be looking at this file at a later time. Okay, so just save that for me, please. The next topic I want to talk about is phasing. Okay, now phasing on a project. Okay, so if I look at my notes here, Revit enables you to show a building in various phases of work. The typical two phases, default phases, is existing and new construction. Okay, so existing obviously means past construction, and new construction is future construction. So a lot of times when you're doing, especially when you're doing renovations, obviously, there are elements that are already existing, and there are elements that you are proposing. Okay, so we want to be able to do phasing, showing what's existing and then what is new construction. The nice thing about this is we could also, deriving from this as-built, okay, drawing or existing drawing, we could start developing demolition drawings as well, and then various phasing drawings from the new construction. Okay, new construction can be renamed as various phases, such as phase 1, phase 2, etc. When an element such as a wall, door, window, etc. are created in Revit, they are treated as new construction. They can be revised to be placed on an existing phase after they are created, or can create all as built elements on the existing phase. And that's what we're gonna do. Instead of drawing everything on the new construction phase, like you normally do when you first start Revit, I want to put it on the existing phase as you're drawing it, okay? Here's your eventual assignment. This is gonna be your hotel assignment, assignment 2. In this assignment, the students will redesign the interior of an existing one-story office building into a hotel room or a hotel building. The 3D model will be created using Revit. A typical working drawing package will be generated with the following drawings. So cover page, as-built, demolition, partition, furniture, reflective, power and communication, interior wall elevations and sections, detailed drawings, and as well as schedules, okay? So this is our full working drawing package that we're going to create, okay? The hotel design. The hotel must consist of as many units as possible. Obviously, the more units you have, perhaps the more revenue you could take in. One unit, however, must be a deluxe unit with a kitchenette and a separate bedroom. All other units must have room for 2 queen-size beds and a 3-piece washroom. All rooms must have a closet. You must also have a reception area with a small office connected to it, and a staff laundry room must also be provided, okay? Use the lecture learnings to generate the drawings listed above. All drawings will be placed. Now, I changed that. I want you to put it on that ArcC 18 by 24 because I felt last year it was a little too tight, okay? So I'm getting you to put it on an 18 by 24 paper size with a custom border, okay? All floor plans should be scaled at 1/4 inch equals a foot. All title blocks should be filled out with appropriate notes and text, okay? So, our first step, and again, this is divided into, I believe, 5 steps, okay? All steps must be submitted. Our first step is the as-built, okay? So this is the office building, okay? You need to construct this in 3D, okay? I also want you to put the room labels in, as well as the dimensioning and the grid as well, okay? Now, in this building, as mentioned, it's a 1-story building, okay? So you're only going to have 2 levels, okay? Ground floor and roof. You can have a parapet level if you want, or you could just take your exterior wall and add a top offset of 3 feet above the roof level, okay? But you can add a parapet level if you wish, okay? Also, your walls are constructed. This is your exterior load-bearing wall, okay? So again, that's the assembly that I'd like you to have, again, for your exterior wall. Okay, so I would probably pick brick on metal stud and then just revise that. Okay. This one here is for your interior wall. Again, I'd probably choose the interior 4 7/8 and just revise that. Okay. Here's a column. You're going to have columns in the interior as your structure. Okay. To put a column in, let me just quickly show you that. It's a very simple task. Everyone, please go to your ground floor. We'll just do it here. I'll just put a column here. I just want to show you. Okay? Under the Architecture tab, in your columns command, there are 2 columns there, structural or architectural. For now, I want you to just put in architectural. We will put in structural later on. Okay? But just pick architectural. Okay? Then, okay, you probably have an 18 by 18, right? But you don't have a 12 by 12, and that's the size I want. Okay, so what do? Select it, edit type, duplicate, call it a 12 by 12, and then change your sizes to a 12 by 12. Okay? But for now, let's just use the 18 by 18 since you have it. Okay? And then you're gonna put in your column. Okay? Once you put in your column, press escape, zoom in. Okay, there's your column. Okay, And it says, on my notes here, it says that you have to apply half-inch drywall all the way around. Okay, half-inch drywall all the way around. So, to do this, all I want you to do is create a wall assembly with just drywall. Okay, so let's go wall. Okay, and then choose a generic wall. So let's say generic 5-inch. Okay, edit type, duplicate. I'm just going to call this drywall. Edit your structure. And then right here, okay, I'm going to call, I'll call it structure because it actually is, okay, because it's own entity. Okay, then I go in here, okay, go to your project browser, your material browser. Okay, look for gypsum wallboard. Okay, right there. And set it to 0.5 inches, okay, half an inch. Click OK. Click OK. All right, and then we're going to use finish face interior, and then just trace around. Okay, your column. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now we have a column with half-inch gypsum wallboard all the way around. Okay. Those obviously will be placed, okay, if you look at the drawing here, they're going to be placed at your grid lines, okay, only your internal grid lines, okay. Your exterior walls are going to be load bearing, okay, so we are not putting columns on the exterior wall. Oh, one more, right here. See this little chamfer here? Okay, ignore it. Okay, make that straight. Okay, we had issues last year with structure on that. Okay, and I didn't want to delve that deep into structure. Okay, so again, please ignore that, make that go straight. So a lot of these, if not all of these lines here, are going to fall along the grid line. Please note that the grid lines or the walls, the core center line of your walls lie along the grid line. So when you're doing these exterior walls, your location line should be core center line. Okay? Now, I want to show you how you start this drawing. Okay? So how you start it. So again, close this. You don't have to save it now. I don't want you to save the columns. Okay? So just go ahead and close this file. No need to save it if you already saved it prior. Let's start a new drawing. Please click Browse. It's going to be an Imperial file. So let's go take a step back and go to US Imperial. Please use the default template. All right, now, I want to talk about phasing now, okay, because that's where you need to start. And then everything after us setting up the phasing here will be exactly the same as when you're creating any ordinary drawing, okay? So, under your Manage tab, you will see phasing right here, phases, okay? Click onto that. So again, under your Manage tab, so we started a new file here, use the default template, Imperial default template, okay? Let's go under phasing.
Central, where's the template?
Sorry?
Template.
Guys, you should know this by now, okay? Let's go. Again, file, let's start a new file here, okay? So I'm going to close this up, okay? So we're not creating a family, we're creating a project, okay? So go under New, under Model. All right, click on Browse. Go into your US Imperial folder. So you got to go into, go take a step back, go under Templates, and then go into your US Imperial template folder. Choose Default. Okay, click Okay? Okay. Now, go under Manage, click on Phases. Alright? So I want to show you that there are two phases that exist in all drawings. Everything you've done in Revit from last term and this term, we've done everything on the new construction phase. Okay, watch. Cancel out of here. Okay, and look in your properties panel, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You can see right here. Okay, we've done everything by default. When you start a new file, it always does things in the new construction phase. Okay, here's the change I want you to make. So cancel out of that dialog box if you're still in it. And before you do any drawing, okay, I want you to convert that. Okay, please change that to existing. Okay, you should see your elevation markers will disappear. That's fine. Okay, but you're going to start from here. So anything you draw, for instance, I go to my architecture tab, I click on wall, I draw a wall. Okay, right there. Okay, there's my wall. If I pick that wall, you can see that it was, if I scroll down, it says phase created, existing. Phase created, existing. And that's for your as-built drawing that you're doing. Every element that you put in there must be on the existing phase. Everything, including the walls, the windows, the doors, toilets, all of those elements should be on the existing. So that's where I want you to make sure you begin. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Right. You can go ahead and save this and call it assignment 2. Okay, but that's where I want you to start from. Now, just as a side note, I don't want you to do this, okay, but just as a side note, just watch. If I did have my phasing at new construction, okay, as a default, right, and I put in a wall there, and I draw my whole building, everything I've drawn, and then I realize, oh shoot, I forgot to change my phase from new construction to existing. So now everything I pick, okay, says that it's new construction. No problem. Just select, I would have put a box around everything like this, and I would simply just change it to existing. So it's not a big deal if you forget that, because you could always go back and change these walls. Okay, but now you can see that these walls are all on the existing phase. And instead of having to do that, start all your elements from the existing phase rather than the new construction phase. Now, when we start to, and here's the beauty of this concept, or the way they do this, okay? Later on, once we finish our as-built, we can put that on a drawing, we can call it as-built, right? And then all I simply have to do is add a new phase, which we're going to do next week. We're going to add a new phase called demolition. I'm going to select everything's going to be demolished, and I'm going to put that on the demolition phase. Guess what? It automatically creates a demolition drawing. And it's going to show in dashed lines all the things that are going to be removed. So automatically, before even I do my new construction, I have a demolition drawing. And then here's the beauty. When I create the new construction, it will remove all of those items that are demolished. So all that's left is the as-built that I specify is staying. Okay? So this phasing of drawings is a really nice way of being able to organize all your information. As-built, demolished, and new construction in one file. Okay? So that's why I wanted to show you this. Next week's class is all about phasing. Okay? So we're going to do that next week. So I want you to prepare your as-built so we're ready to do the demolition and the new construction drawings next week. Any questions? Yeah.
Are we submitting each part of the assignment separately?
Yes. Okay, so this step right here is step 1. Okay, so assignment 2, step 1 is your as-built. Just call it assignment 2, step 1, and submit it into the assignment 2 Dropbox before the start of our next class. Okay? Any questions? Now, I want want to see exactly what I have in this drawing right here. I want to see exactly this. Okay, so I want to see the grid lines. I want to see the dimensioning. I want to see the room labels. I want to see the toilet and sink. The only thing that's going to change, as I mentioned, make this straight. Don't put a diagonal wall there. Also, don't put the hatch pattern in your bathrooms. Okay? Do not put that. We haven't learned that yet. Don't put the hatch patterns in your bathroom. Okay? All right. That's all I got. Okay? You can work on that. Please make sure, again, you submit it before the start of our next class.